99X, it's Barnes and Leslie. Allison Taffel-Rabinowitz is here. She has the finishing school, some great tips, not just for women. I mean, I know you do a lot of the fighting for women to get, equal pay and all that, but also men can benefit from this just the same. When we left in part one, you were talking about this way of going after people and meeting them and having these digital coffees. And I asked the question, is, all those asks that you're putting in there, is that too much? What I would suggest, and that I've heard, and you tell me if this is a good thing, is don't have to have it right then. So back up a few months and start easing in with a little bit of these social droppings. So maybe an article you saw about the person, maybe hit that over and go, this is really cool, leave it. And then come back and then be like, hey, da-da-da-da, that's really impressive that you, whatever it is that you saw them in the press, leave it. So now you're top of mind with that person. It's a psychology game. Then you come in for a reason to either meet or interact. Is that a bad play or a good one?
It's interesting. Now people are looking at LinkedIn and they see this, how many people applied to a job.
Yeah.
And they get really intimidated because it'll say thousands of people applied within the first hour, right? What I tell people is, A, you made a great point. Don't hide your ask, right? Only have one ask. I said, stroke their ego, have one ask, I want coffee, and then give them a piece of value, that article, right? But another way to get in through the door in a non-asky kind of way is I work with people to create these personal portfolio decks that are basically, why should you hire me? And it's a storytelling tool that's visual, unlike a resume, because people's careers are not ladders anymore, they're jungle gyms. And this is something that people can just pass along to the person who needs to know about you. So I tell people to attach that in the email to make it easier, because some people don't even want to have a conversation with you. They just want to send your name for it. So authentic relationship building is super important, but also I think volume and speed in this job market is also really important. So it's about reading the room, the context, who is the person you're reaching out to.
That's key. Reading the room, going in for that coffee, I think you're crossing a line where you're trying to get physical, not physical, but you're trying to initiate a meetup, and that could come as aggressive, but that's just me.
I will say a lot of people, and I sort of admire it, cold call me, send me an email directly, not even through LinkedIn. And I go, you know what? That person was actually brave for
Fram.
doing that. And I really do try to take the time, whether it's in person or with the Zoom. It's so hard to advocate, for yourself. So what you're talking about is just becoming your own brand, which I think is brilliant. Talk about, you were recommending Chat GPT, which I think is brilliant to prepare for an interview, because I don't think people are well prepared for interviews these days.
It's so true. I actually just taught a class all about how to use ChatGPT for your career search. And at every touch point, you can use it. But one of my favorite things to tell people to do is to use ChatGPT as your interview bestie that helps you prepare. How do you do that? You basically just paste in the job description and you prompt it with, what questions could I expect on an interview for this job description? And it'll come back with everything you need to think about. And then you can throw that in a Google Doc and come up with your own answers. Now, I tell people to look at ChatGPT with a grain of salt. It is not perfect. What it spits out is not human. And you need to make sure your voice is part of an interview, because people can see through the cheat of ChatGPT, but you can use it to your advantage. So something I say to take that further, what are the questions you're about to be asked? Maybe throw in your resume or your elevator pitch and say, based on these questions, how should I answer and touch upon each one of these points in an elevator pitch using my resume content? There's ways to just keep going with it that help.
Well, LinkedIn is kind of becoming a circus, no pun intended. You see where they added these games? They added 3 games. I feel like people are going to balk. They just did this.
I didn't see that. I've had friends that have legitimately gotten great jobs through LinkedIn.
But people get pissed off when you take LinkedIn, you lean too far on the social side. All the LinkedIn people fight back. But what's the biggest mistake? We're talking to Allison Taffel-Rabinowitz, the finishing school. She's helped people earn over $1 million more with her, technique and way of doing things. So what is the biggest mistake people can make on LinkedIn? You talked about what they should do. What's what you shouldn't do, because it's going to get the Heisman, like, you blew it.
I think it would be not tending to it. So specifically, if you think about things kind of like SEO, search engine optimization, keywords within your LinkedIn profile are so important because that's what recruiters are looking for. So a really good thing is to take job descriptions that you are interested in, highlight the words that are keywords that you think people are going to look for when hiring someone like you, and put them into your LinkedIn profile. So some people just put the positions that they were at and have this, just very bare LinkedIn. Write what you did and what your wins were.
That's a great idea. So, Allison, you actually have an offer for 99X listeners. Tell us about it.
Yes. So since I'm a huge fan of 99X, I made a code 99X for my next negotiation class. I host them monthly on Zoom, so anyone could come. I just want to offer that as something to basically keep moving forward and keep propelling people's success. So use 99X.
That's great.
My website is thefinishingschool.co, and you can find me on Instagram at Allison Taffel Rabinowitz, where I have great career advice and fun memes.
So you couldn't negotiate that M to get the .com?
I know, right? I know. It's actually a real finishing school, but I love that playing off of that name because I think we're never finished learning.
All right.
So this is a free ticket to the monthly negotiator masterclass.
Yes.
Okay, and the keyword, of course, 99X is your code.
So you can Google her if you want to learn more. Allison Taffel Rabinowitz.
Thank you so much.
Great to meet you, Allison.
Thank you.
LinkedIn just debuted their first 3 online games. People are like, I didn't sign up to LinkedIn to play games. That's why I signed up for the New York Times. I don't think it's a good idea because people are now sending their resumes through Fruit Ninja.
Good Morning X with Barnes and Leslie.